You felt it before. That sudden cold jolt of adrenaline when a floorboard creaks in a dark house. You are lying in bed, the sheets pulled up, your eyes wide, staring at a door that is slightly ajar. In that moment, your modern life disappears. It doesn't matter that you have a smartphone on the nightstand or a deadbolt on the front door. Your DNA has just hijacked your brain, pulling you back 2 million years to a time when the night was not a time for rest, but a time for survival. We feel completely defenseless when we close our eyes. We feel like a slow-moving, high-calorie meal waiting to be found in the dark. We assume that sleep is a state of total vulnerability, a biological tax we pay that leaves us at the mercy of anything with teeth and night vision. But if that were actually true, if humans were as helpless as we feel, our species should have been wiped out before we ever learned to walk upright. A hairless, slow-moving primate sleeping on the ground in a world full of mega predators is a biological absurdity. And yet, here you are. New research into sentinel behavior and predator psychology suggests that you aren't safe tonight because you're hidden, and you aren't safe because you're lucky. You are safe because, to a predator, a sleeping human is a trap. To understand why you weren't eaten last night, we have to look at the math of the savannah. In 2017, researchers David Sampson and Charlie Nunn traveled to the northern hills of Tanzania to study the sleep patterns of the Hadza people, one of the last remaining hunter-gatherer societies on Earth. They wanted to know how a group of 30 people, sleeping in open-air huts surrounded by lions, leopards, and hyenas, managed to survive the night without a standing army. They gave the volunteers actigraphs, small wearable sensors that track every movement and every moment of wakefulness. The data they brought back changed everything we thought we knew about sleep. Over the course of nearly 3 weeks, they found that there were only 18 minutes where every single adult in the group was asleep at the same time, 18 minutes over 20 days. For 99.7% of the night, at least one person was awake, alert, or in a state of very light sleep. This is what scientists call the sentinel hypothesis. We don't sleep together as a species, we rotate. While you think the whole world is drifting off into the void, the human group is actually maintaining a staggered, overlapping guard. We have evolved to be asynchronous sleepers. This is the hidden purpose of the night owl and the early bird. For decades, we've treated these as personality traits or productivity hacks, or worse, we've shamed the night owls as being lazy. But on the savannah, a night owl wasn't a procrastinator. They were the 2 a.m. watchmen. They were the ones whose genetics kept them wired and alert during the hours when the leopards were most active. The early birds took the 4 a.m. shift, waking up just as the night owls finally drifted off. You don't have a sleep disorder. You have an ancient job description. You are part of a biological relay race that has been running for 2 million years. But even with a sentinel awake, a human is still physically outmatched by almost any large predator. A leopard can climb into a hut. A lion can pull a human out of a tent. So why don't they? The answer lies in the cold, calculated psychology of the predator. In the wild, there is no such thing as a fair fight. Predators are high-stakes gamblers, and they are incredibly risk-averse. A lion knows that even if it successfully kills a human, a single well-placed kick, a jab from a sharpened stick, or a bite from a desperate primate could lead to a minor infection. And in the wild, a minor infection is a death sentence. A group of humans is the most unpredictable target in the animal kingdom. When a predator looks at a sleeping human camp, it doesn't just see meat. It sees a flickering fire, a chemical anomaly they've learned to associate with pain. It hears the occasional cough or the rustle of a sentinel shifting their weight. It smells the concentrated scent of a dozen different individuals. To a predator, this isn't an easy kill. It's a high-risk gamble. They don't know who is truly asleep and who is half awake, clutching a rock or a spear. Most predators would rather spend their energy hunting a gazelle, which is predictable and solitary, than risk their lives attacking a human trap that might fight back with tools they don't understand. We survive the night not by being stronger than the monsters, but by being too much of a headache to hunt. This safety through vigilance is so deeply wired into your brain that it changes the way your neurons fire when you travel. Scientists call this the first night effect. In 2016, researchers at Brown University used advanced brain imaging to watch people sleep in a new environment. They found that on the first night in an unfamiliar place, the two halves of the human brain do not sleep equally. The right hemisphere drifts into a deep, restorative sleep, but the left hemisphere stays in a state of vigilance, a lighter, more alert phase of sleep that is hypersensitive to unusual sounds. You are essentially sleeping like a dolphin, keeping one half of your brain on duty to monitor the room. This is why you wake up at 3 a.m. in a hotel room and feel a strange sense of dread. Your left hemisphere has detected a sound that doesn't fit the safe pattern of your home, and it has sounded a silent alarm. It is a biological nightlight that you can never truly turn off. Your brain doesn't care that you're in a Marriott in the suburbs. It thinks you're in a new cave and it's waiting to see if something is breathing in the corner. But as our ancestors moved out of the trees and onto the ground, we realized that even our own internal sentinels weren't enough. We needed something with better ears and a better nose. About 30,000 years ago, we made the most important security deal in history. We took the wolf, the very animal that used to hunt us, and we invited it to sleep at the edge of the fire. This was the birth of the external nervous system. By domesticating dogs, humans were able to outsource the most exhausting part of survival, the detect phase. A dog's hearing is 4 times more acute than ours. Their sense of smell is nearly 10,000 times more powerful. When a dog sleeps at the foot of your bed, it isn't just a pet. It is a biological sensor that allows your brain to finally, truly let go. For the first time in evolutionary history, humans could enter the deepest stages of REM sleep because we knew that if a threat entered a 100-yard radius, a specialized alarm system would go off before we were ever in danger. This partnership allowed our brains to grow and our cultures to flourish because we finally had the cognitive surplus that comes from a good night's rest. However, this ancient system of safety has hit a modern wall. Today, we are facing a global epidemic of insomnia and night anxiety, and the reason might be simpler than we think. For 2 million years, humans never slept alone. We slept in piles, we slept in groups of 20 or 30, surrounded by the breathing, snoring, and warmth of our tribe. We had the comfort of knowing that someone, a night owl, an elder, or a dog, was awake. Today, we try to sleep in isolated, soundproof boxes. We have removed the sentinels, we have removed the tribe. When you lie in your bedroom alone and feel that prickle of fear at a floorboard creak, your brain is reacting to a very real biological error. You are a social sleeper who is currently unaccompanied. Your anxiety is not a glitch, it is a ghost signal from a survival system that is looking for its watchmen. Your brain is saying, I don't hear the breathing of the tribe, so I have to stay awake. But we have traded the safety of the group for the privacy of the individual, and our DNA hasn't forgiven us for it. This realization changes the way we should look at our restless nights. That jolt of adrenaline you feel in the dark isn't a sign of weakness. It is a sign of an incredibly successful legacy. You are the descendant of the people who didn't sleep through the rustle in the grass. You are the child of the sentinels who stayed awake so the rest of the tribe could dream. Your fear is a weapon that was forged over thousands of generations to ensure that you would wake up the next morning. So, tonight, when you turn off the light and that familiar unease begins to creep in, try to see it differently. You aren't a helpless piece of meat in a dark room. You are the most dangerous animal on this planet, protected by a brain that is so obsessed with your survival that it refuses to fully turn off. You are part of a 2 million-year-old rotation. Somewhere out there, a night owl is just starting their SAM shift, and an early bird is only a few hours from waking up. You are safe because you belong to a species that learned how to turn the night into a fortress. The floorboard creak in the hallway isn't the sound of a monster. It's just the sound of your house settling into the landscape. But the fact that you heard it, the fact that you are awake right now, listening, means the system is working. The sentinel is on duty. And as long as that ancient, anxious part of your brain is watching the door, you can finally afford to close your eyes.